Morning. Council Arts Public Subcommittee. Best from this live stream. Right. Right. Yes. All right. Also, present. We start. Right. To explain. First, is the license campaign. Following members and any the interested of then lost in their case is what we try. Then the applicant in their case members and the license. After this, all have time in the applicant have subcommittee and regard. Consider this year and will be first then of it. Does item 1 on the agenda.
A copy of the full application and associated documentation, including the plan, is attached as Appendix 1 at page 11. The application is to vary the hours for the supply of alcohol for consumption off the premises to 6 AM to 11 PM Monday to Sunday, and to submit an updated plan of the premises. The premises is currently licensed to supply alcohol from 7 AM to 9 PM Monday to Sunday. A copy of the existing premises licence, including the current conditions, is attached as Appendix 2 at page 25. During the consultation period, 2 representations were received from local residents, and they are both attached at Appendix 3 at page 37. No representations were received from any responsible authorities or any other persons. Under the Licensing Act 2003, the licensing objectives are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. Any representations must relate to a particular premises and must be relevant to the promotion of one or more of the 4 licensing objectives. The following options are available to the licensing subcommittee: to grant the variation as applied for, to grant the application subject to such conditions as are necessary and proportionate to promote the licensing objectives, or to refuse the application. In determining the application for the, it should be variation of the premises licence, the subcommittee should have regard to the Council's statement of licensing policy and to the guidance issued by the Secretary of State under Section 182 of the Licensing Act. Section 2 of the statutory guidance relates to the 4 licensing objectives. The subcommittee are advised that this hearing is a statutory exercise of power delegated by local residents to consider what the public interest requires. The licensing authority, via the subcommittee, has a duty, in accordance with the rule of law, to behave fairly in the decision-making procedures. Representations from all parties, both written and verbal, will form part of matters that are to be considered. Findings of issues of fact should be on the balance of probability. The subcommittee are advised that the final decision should be based on the individual merits of the application and findings of fact made at this hearing. The application must be determined within 5 working days of the conclusion of the hearing in accordance with paragraph 26 of the Licensing Act 2003 Hearing Regulations 2005. Thank you.
Does the interested party have, do members have any question for the licensing officer? Does the interested party have any questions of the licensing officer? Sorry?
Sorry, Chair. We've just had communication with the resident. She has no questions for licensing officers.
Does the applicant have any questions of the licensing officer?
My first question, firstly, good morning, everyone. The thing is, I need to know which is the main things you have considered about the 2 objective. So I read the letters. I have some opinion to tell, what are the things I'm going to carry on. So my first question is, according to the objective, which is the main thing you are especially look after to think about the license to grant?
So I think it's obviously because it's not myself that makes any of the decision. In a minute, when you get your chance to speak, it will probably come out better in that section. Okay.
The officers have presented a report. If you have any question on this particular report, then obviously you have your opportunity to present your case. Do you have any question, Butter? Excuse me, can you hear us?
Hello, is this, yeah, this is the resident here. Is it, what was the question, sorry?
I would like to ask you to present your case, please.
Okay, sure, no problem. So the reason for our case is based on the disturbance. So recently we've seen an increase in drunken disorderly behaviour. Mainly that leads from the public bridleway. There's a lot of young groups starting to hang around now, which we've only seen an increase in the last couple of months, I would say. I think our main concern is that we'll have an increase of people wanting to come down the residential street to buy alcohol, which actually isn't really necessary. We don't think that there's a need for that sort of hours during like on a residential street. The other issue is cars. We see a lot of cars being parked up to come and use the shop, which is not a problem, but we seem to see a quiet period after that 7-8 o'clock, which is something that, you know, we appreciate. If we have that hour, if we have the opening hours a lot longer, we will see the cars more. It comes with noise and pollution. It's difficult to get in and out of the road. So, you know, at the moment we're enjoying that peace and quiet in the evenings. I just, there's Tesco, we've got Asda, we've got Co-op, we've got lots of other places where shops are open 24 hours a day. So we just don't feel like there is a need for that here. I also wanted to bring up the point about there's no lights and there is no, the bridleways are pitch black. So when the winter sets in and it gets a lot darker, if we have got people coming up and down the bridleway to access the shop, to me it raises a safety concern, because if something happens to somebody during that time, if they fall over or hurt themselves, then nobody's aware. And yeah, I think my main point is the drunk and disorderly. We've had people smash into the fences and breaking bottles. So yeah, there's a few reasons. I mean, we love the fact that we have a convenience shop on the road, and it's been very helpful during this lockdown, and we don't want to lose that relationship with with the shop. It is relied on. I just think it's relied on its necessities rather than the alcohol that is sold out of there. So yeah, I mean there's more obviously detail in the report, in the letter that was posted. But if anybody's got any points they want me to elaborate on, then I'm happy to do that. Thank you.
Do members have any question of the interested party?
Do we have any evidence to suggest that the drunk and disorderly and the broken bottles are directly linked to the Bon shop?
I wouldn't say that it is directly linked to it, but the only reason I can see people coming from the Woodview estate down here usually are intoxicated, and I would assume that they would get more alcohol and then go back up down the Woodview estate. I think the fact that the Bridleway is the main transport to and from the Woodview estate to the shop, that causes concern for us as a resident, because we hear the loud noises, people falling into the fences, people riding up and down on their bikes. So I haven't got evidence as such, but I can only obviously explain the experience that I've had.
Thank you. Also, regarding the extension of the hours, obviously during winter, start from 5 till the morning. Obviously, that bridleway is dark at the time anyway. Do you really think there will be that much increase in foot traffic to the shop for an extra 2 hours at that time of night?
Not really, but that's what I'm trying to say. There isn't a need for it to be open that late. Unless people know it's open that late, then we'll see an increase. I couldn't possibly comment on something that we don't actually have an idea. We don't know what it's like. Yes, the Bridleway will get dark from 5 o'clock, but unless people know that the shop's open till 11 o'clock, I wouldn't be able to comment on that.
Any other question?
No, that's it. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, does the licensing officer have any question of the interested party?
No, thank you, Chair.
Does the applicant have any question of the interested party?
Thank you. No.
I would now like to ask the applicant to present their case, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the owner of the business, Visahan Kumar. I took this business in January. I refreshed the business and completely refitting, and then I invest extra money to put additional product, and mostly local residents. 85% are really happy to run this business, and basically everyone come and say you need to extend your hours. And I took nearly 1 month before one savoring. Nearly 80 to 85 customers are saying you need to increase hours. That's why I was applying for this ad-call license extension 2 hours and then 1 hour earlier. At the moment we are opening 7 a.m. So I apply for 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So I never expected 2 people are going to objective. The thing is, we have some, most of the things I did, we have a CCTV footages, and then within 8 months, I never, a police officer or anybody come and take any video or any CCTV footages. And not only that, I never seen any young boys or any coming around and doing, drugs dealing or anything. Maybe it happened at midnight, and then I have some solution to solve this issue. I can put additional lights and additional camera in the behind the building. And not only that, before upstairs I have a 2-bedroom house and no one living. And last week I rent out my staff, one of the family living upstairs. So probably move product in that area. And not only that, I'm going to put some additional bin in my previous area and then put signages, noise down, and then can use our bin. I'm going to put 2 signages in front and inside and outside. Then I need to ask my staff to clear the regular basic bin. That's why I can do in my previous area. But I don't know, someone mentioned in the alleyway they have some beer can is there. So last week I just went and checked over there. I can't see that much. Is there something? But I can't see that much of broken bottle or anything. Another thing is, and one of the objectives have mentioned, I'm going to make it within, we never think about the local residents. We only think about the income. I'm not going to make it with £1 million within a couple of hours. So most of my local residents keep asking, why didn't extend your hours? But in the early morning also. So that's why I did, because of they are satisfied. So, and license officer, you have to think about it, and you can able to try to grant my extension hours to reconsider. Thank you.
Do members have any question of the applicant? Yes, please.
Over an evening from, say, 8 o'clock to your last hour of trading, is it still local residents that predominantly use your shop?
Yeah, yes.
And is it your local residents that have asked you to extend because it fits in more of their lifestyle, or is it to fairly compete with, I see it says Tesco's is just a quarter of a mile away. Do you feel that you should be competing with those fairly?
Yeah, because not local customers and local residents, because this is a local shop, we can't particularly mention Tesco near to me and Cobb near to me, because this is a local. So who are they easy to come and make a convenience store. So that's why they didn't particularly tell exactly time to extend. So only we have 11 o'clock option is there. That's why I put maximum 11 o'clock. So if you license officer, you can think about any reduced hours, then I'm happy to go through.
Thank you, Chair.
I have one question. How many employees are working in your shop?
At the moment, 3.
So have you ever witnessed any antisocial behavior around your shop?
I spoke to the whole staff. I don't have anything. We don't have any records or anything from the January, because I took this business in January. They even know any police officers are around and come and ask the CCTV. Or we don't have any records. And we've seen some kids around the area. And then one of the objects mentioned few months ago, from few months, shows anxiety behaviors, and the children are around the area. But this is we can't take the consider, because current situation COVID-19, all the kids are in home. So because few months is may go into effect. I can see some kids are around over the area, but they're not making any issue or something, and no one going to access my behind the shop area. So I put additional CCTV camera last week, and then lights also, and keep monitoring. So we don't know any records at the moment.
Do you roughly have any idea how many normally people visit your shop in an hour?
Per hour?
Yeah.
Probably 10 to 50.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you, Chair.
Does the interested party have any question of the applicant?
I have a few questions. So I think the first question is, you mentioned that roughly about 85 people have said to you, why don't you extend the hours? I'd just be interested to know how many of those people were actually residents from the street rather than the residents from the two estates that link into King Edward Drive, because, that's my first question.
Yeah. Obviously, we know the customers. I can't mention, they're not writing any particular address or anything in the survey and report. So they are coming from the local next to the village center also. But I don't know how many people are living because I'm new to this business. So there's some of those, they're coming from the next village as well. So everybody, when you put the signages book, so my staff going to explain them. So we're going to exchange hours. Anybody happy? So many people are ticking yes, yes. I know we have some 2-3 people say no, but they put some particular time, 10:30, and most of the customers they put early morning 6 o'clock as well. So that's why I put to 6 to 11 extension hours.
Okay. So that still brings it back to my main concern that, it's not the actual residents on this street that want it as much as the neighbouring estates. And again, if that need is there for the neighbouring estates, they have other places they can go. The other thing I wanted to point out is you mentioned that you went to see down the Bridleway and there was no bottles and rubbish there. That's because there's volunteers who clean up that Bridleway on a regular basis, which is why you probably won't see that. And I think the neighbours around here and the residents around here maintain that Bridleway quite well. So it's not for us to say that that's fine because it's been maintained by the residents. We can allow that rubbish to continue. And obviously, I understand that is out of your control. You cannot control people throwing their rubbish around. I understand that. But it just comes back down to that disturbance of hearing glass bottles smash in the middle of the night and you're being woken up as a resident who lives quite closely by. So that's just the other point I wanted to make. And the other comment about the antisocial behaviour, I think if anybody knows where the street is, where the shop is, it is surrounded by bushes and greenery. So your shop is it's not open to see what's actually happening behind the shop. So not taking into account the back of your shop, but more so the back of our gardens or, the back of our fences. We can see people hanging around. The other day I had somebody lying on the floor with his bike on the floor because he was too drunk to get up with another 6-7 people. But again, you're not going to be able to see that. Your CCTV won't be able to see that. And even reporting the antisocial behaviour, there is no CCTV down the Bridleway. So requests won't be made because we know that there's no CCTV there. We've had police knock on our door to ask us whether there's people, down in the back of our garage because there's been reports of people. And again, I'm not saying this is linked to your shop directly, but what the point I'm trying to make is the less people we attract to the area, the less there will be chances of antisocial behaviour. And just picking up on one of the other members.
Excuse me, can I please request you to ask your question?
Okay. My question is, well, what will you do to ensure that the antisocial behaviour won't continue between the hours of 9 and 11? What is the need? If you're saying you're only having 10 to 15 people within an hour, why would you need to extend those hours? What is the purpose of extending it if you're only going to have 10 to 15 people attending the shop at that time and you're not going to be making millions like you said? So what is the point is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
That's why I'm saying, because this is a local convenience store. Whatever my local citizens are ask me, I try to help them. So that's why, because always when you're closing 10 o'clock, near to 10 o'clock are nearly coming 10 to 15 customer at closing time. So then I recognize, we need to open some hours extra, because if you see the business after 9 o'clock, keep quiet or anything, no customers, only 2 customers after 9 o'clock, then I don't want to reconsider. But near to closing time, some customers are coming, come back to work or somewhere else. So they're coming 1 can of beer and something nearly buying 60. I'm not running this business as a charity. At the same time, I'm not making money 2 million. So I have to look after the same customer. I don't want to lose other business. If example, if you're buying one beer can, the customer going to buy nearly 20 pounds additional, cigarette or any other product as well. So that's why I'm decided, okay, I'm going to increase maximum I can. So, and not only that, the beer can and the social beer, we're going to put some high visible signages in inside and outside, and I'm going to put additional bin. That bin already bin is there, that's maintaining by council. So I'm going to put additional big bin, and we're going to maintain on my staff. And if you're doing volunteer job to clean, I'm really appreciated. I can able to help my staff monthly basic or weekly, we can try to help them. So we can put some router to come and help my staff. I don't care about the wages to do those things. So you can discuss with us, and I can able to maximum I can help to control this rubbish.
Sorry, do you have any other question?
No, thank you.
I would now like to ask the applicant to make a closing summary statement.
So I said, this is the object they're saying, especially, some pollution things is not my hands. Then my thing is only I can do the additional lights and additional cameras. I can put some signages. So if you can't able to grant until 11 o'clock, then I can happy to go through any less hours or 10:30 or 10 o'clock. So that's my point. So I think 6 o'clock is no one going to object. So open 6 o'clock is fine. So a license officer, you have to take any decision. This is my final opinion. Thank you.
Has everyone said all that they wish to say?
Yes, thank you.
I would now like to ask the licensing officer to summarize their case, please.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to take the opportunity to remind the four licensing objectives of the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm, and the fact that any representations must relate to the particular premises and relevant to one or more of the four licensing objectives. The need for additional premises or premises hours as a factor is not considered relevant.
Now I would like to ask the interested parties to summarize their case.
Yeah, so I just want to say that I would like it to be considered not to extend the hours until 11 o'clock, simply because as a resident on the street, I don't, I feel like there will be an increase in the drunken disorderly behaviour and the noise and disturbance. But I take on board the interventions that the applicant poses to put forward. So yeah, I mean, I've made as many points as I can. So that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
So my apology. Obviously, you have last chance to say on this. So I would now like to ask you to make a closing summary.
I don't know. I think I already told you this is a things I can able to do for the production. And finally, I'm requested to do, even if you 10 o'clock also, if you give the grant 10 o'clock, I'm really happy we can go through the business. Even I don't want the 11 or 10:30. So 6 to 10 is I think should be okay. So it's 11 really, if you really residential area really bad, then I can go through 10 o'clock. Yeah, thank you.
Has everyone said all they wish to say? The subcommittee will now retire to consider its decision and will be accompanied by the clerk and legal advisor to the subcommittee. the legal advisor to inform all parties of any legal advice received by the subcommittee during the decision-making process. Can you please read out the decision?
The application is granted. This decision will be communicated fully within 5 working days. Subcommittee would remind all parties of their right of appeal against this decision to the Magistrates' Court within 21 working days.
A full decision letter will be sent to you within 5 working days. This notification shall advise you of your right to appeal to the Magistrate Court, which I don't think we need. So I would like to thank everyone for their attendance this evening, and I will close the meeting at 11:03.